I didn't scream, didn't throw a chair, didn't punch a wall or drive off into the night like they do in movies. I just sat there. At the edge of our dining room table, hands clasped so tight my knuckles ached, while Megan stood across from me, eyes swollen, shoulders shaking, phone still lit up on the screen that ended everything. It was a Tuesday. The kids were asleep upstairs. The dishwasher hummed in the background, and my wife, my Megan, had just admitted she was in love with someone else. Not was. Is. Present tense. Keep watching. It only gets deeper. We'd been married 14 years. 2 kids, a house near Flagstaff, Arizona, 1 shared mortgage, 3 car payments, and exactly 0 warning signs. Or so I thought. Looking back, I can pinpoint the moment something cracked. It wasn't big. Just a comment she made at the end of August, something about needing air. She'd started taking solo walks at sunset, staying out late at book club, carrying her phone everywhere, even into the bathroom. I chalked it up to midlife burnout. We were both tired, after all. Work, kids, schedules. I figured she just needed time. I didn't figure she needed someone else's time. The affair had lasted 4 months. His name was Bryce. He was in real estate, recently divorced. No kids. They met at the gym. Of course they did. He was easy to talk to, she told me that night, as if that explained it. I never meant for it to happen. It just did. It just did. I remember thinking how small those words sounded next to the wreckage they caused. She said it was over, that she'd ended it, that she'd blocked his number and deleted the app they used to message. She showed me. I nodded. But my body was cold, not angry, not even heartbroken, just stunned. I walked out to the backyard, sat in the lawn chair we bought last Christmas, and stared at the dead tree we kept promising to cut down. And that's when I realized I didn't even know what hurt worse. The fact that she did it, or the fact that I wasn't surprised. The next day she cried in the kitchen, offered to move out, said she didn't expect forgiveness, just honesty, asked if I still loved her. I didn't answer, because I honestly didn't know. What I knew was this: she was the mother of my kids. I had built a life with her, and I wasn't ready to throw it all away. Not yet. We started counseling that week. Our therapist was a woman named Kim Blunt, no nonsense, wore boots to every session and never let us get away with surface answers. In the first session, Megan admitted to the affair again, in more detail this time. I kept my jaw locked and my eyes on the beige rug. I felt invisible, she said. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask why she didn't just talk to me. But Kim raised a hand before I opened my mouth. "We're not here to punish," she said. "We're here to understand." I hated that sentence, because in that moment, all I wanted was to punish her. At home, things got weird. We slept in the same bed, but with a canyon between us. She kept trying making dinner, packing the kids' lunches, asking if I needed anything. I kept nodding, or grunting, or pretending I didn't hear. One night, I caught her crying in the laundry room, face buried in a towel. I walked away. It wasn't out of cruelty. It was because I didn't know what to do with her pain. When mine hadn't even settled yet. Weeks passed. Friends started to notice something was off. The kids didn't say much, but I caught my daughter watching us with a worried look, like she was trying to measure the silence. Megan stayed. She didn't run, and strangely, that made me angrier. Why didn't she go to him? Why was she fighting for this now, after breaking it? And more importantly, was I strong enough to let her try? Our second session with Kim started in silence. She closed the door, sat down across from us, crossed one leg over the other, and waited. Megan was beside me on the couch. Her hands were clasped in her lap, her shoulders curled in. "When did you first feel like the marriage was breaking?" Kim asked quietly. Megan spoke first. "Probably when we stopped kissing in the mornings," she said. I flinched, not because it wasn't true, but because it was too small to be the reason everything fell apart. "He stopped noticing me," Megan added, voice low. "Stopped touching me. Not even a hand on the back when he walked by, just distance." She wasn't wrong. I used to linger in the kitchen just to kiss her neck. Used to touch her shoulder when I passed behind her. Used to trace circles on her thigh while we watched TV. And then, one day, I just didn't. I didn't stop loving her. I just got tired. Tired of trying. Tired of giving from an empty cup. I didn't know it was being noticed. Kim turned to me. "Do you agree with that?" I shrugged. "Maybe. I thought we were just coasting." Megan swallowed hard. I felt invisible. And I felt guilty, because I didn't notice she was disappearing until she was already gone. That night, after therapy, we didn't speak on the drive home. The tension sat between us like a third passenger. I stared at the road. She stared at her hands. At a red light, I asked, "Why didn't you just tell me?" She didn't look up, because I didn't want to ruin you. I almost laughed. "Didn't want to ruin me," I said. "You just detonated my entire reality." She flinched, but said nothing. I gripped the wheel harder. My hands were shaking. I didn't want to yell. Didn't even want to cry. I wanted answers. "Did you love him?" Pause. A breath. I thought I did. That thought ripped through my chest harder than any yes. The next few days were strange. We still lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, passed each other in the hallway like co-workers who'd slept together and regretted it. I watched her move. Cautiously, like she was afraid I might shatter. And the truth was, I might have. I couldn't stop picturing her with him. The touches, the laughter, the texts, the way she probably smiled at him, the same smile she used to give me. I hated those images. But I couldn't stop replaying them, like some masochistic highlight reel I never asked to see. In therapy, Megan started opening up more. Too much, honestly. She talked about how alive she felt with Bryce, how he made her laugh, how he looked at her like she was the only woman in the room. Every sentence was a dagger. And Kim just nodded and told me to breathe through it. I didn't want to breathe. I wanted to leave. But I didn't. Because some part of me still wanted to understand, even if it killed me. One night, I found an old photo of us. Megan and me in Vegas, 3 years into our marriage. She was leaning into me, laughing. I looked younger, freer. We both did. I stared at it for a long time, then shoved it into a drawer and slammed it shut. What good was remembering a version of us that no longer existed? Megan asked to read me a letter she'd written. "I wrote it in therapy," she said. "Kim said it might help." I sat down at the dining table. She stood. Her voice trembled at first. "I betrayed you. I know that. I won't ask you to forget or pretend it didn't happen. I only ask for one thing. Don't let my mistake become the only thing that defines us." I looked away. She kept reading. "I miss being your best friend. I miss your terrible coffee. I miss the way you hum when you fold laundry. I miss being seen by you." She set the paper down. "I'm still here," she said. If you want me. I didn't say anything, because I didn't know what I wanted. But I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want this to be the end of my story. Not like this. Not yet. I started keeping a notebook. Not for journaling, not for healing. Just to survive. Page 1 was titled, Things I Know for Sure. And under it, I wrote, Megan cheated. I still don't understand why. I don't trust her. I miss her. I hate that I miss her. Then I just stopped. That was enough truth for one night. Kim suggested we spend a weekend apart. Get out of the shared space, she said. Let your nervous systems rest. Megan packed a bag and stayed with her sister across town. The silence that followed felt like a vacuum. No footsteps in the hallway, no clinking dishes in the kitchen, no quiet humming while she watered the plants. Just the dull ache of being alone in a house built for two. I thought I'd feel relief, but I didn't. I felt lost. That Saturday, I went through our closet, not to snoop, not even intentionally. I was looking for a sweatshirt. Instead, I found the box. It was small, shoved behind old winter coats. Megan's memory box, I'd seen it before. Once, years ago. It used to hold concert tickets and love notes, silly things we wrote to each other in the early days. Now, it held something else. Receipts, a folded hotel brochure, a necklace I'd never seen before, and a handwritten note. You make me feel real. Don't disappear on me. No name, but I didn't need one. My ears rang. I closed the box, shoved it back where I found it, and walked out of the closet. When Megan came home Sunday night, I didn't mention it. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But what would it change? She'd already confessed, already begged, already burned everything we had. And here I was, still choosing to stay. What did that make me? Weak? Forgiving? Stupid? Maybe all three. The next session with Kim hit harder than usual. We talked about the physical part of the affair, not just sex, but touch, intimacy, emotional safety. Kim asked Megan, "Did you feel guilty while it was happening?" Megan hesitated. Not at first. My jaw tightened. I told myself it was harmless, she continued, that I was just talking to someone, that I needed connection. "Did you think about Nathan?" Kim asked. "Every day," Megan said, and that's what made it worse. I didn't cry. I just stared at the rug again. It was beige, always beige. I hated that rug. After the session, Megan asked if I wanted to grab coffee. I said no. But I followed her out of the office anyway, and somehow we ended up sitting in the back corner of a diner we hadn't been to in years. She ordered tea. I got black coffee, no cream. We didn't speak for a while. Then she looked up. "You can ask me anything," she said. "Anything?" She nodded, so I asked the question I'd been too afraid to ask. "Did you love me when you did it?" She blinked, didn't answer right away. Then, yes. That broke me in a way I hadn't expected, because if she loved me and still did that, then nothing was safe, nothing was sacred. I started driving at night, just to clear my head. Flagstaff has these long, open roads where you can drive for miles without seeing another car. I'd turn up the music, grip the wheel, and try to forget what home felt like. Sometimes I'd pull over, kill the engine, and just sit in the dark. One night, I whispered to no one, "I don't know how to be married to her anymore." And the silence whispered back, "Then stop trying." But I didn't. I kept trying, because some part of me still wanted this to work. And that part, it was stubborn. Or maybe it was love. Or maybe I just didn't want to lose twice. Kim asked us to make a list. 2 columns. Left side, what I lost. Right side, what I still have. Megan filled hers in quickly. I didn't write a single thing. She still had hope. I still had rage. That week, I moved into the guest room. We didn't announce it. Didn't make it a dramatic event. I just walked in one night with a pillow under my arm and closed the door. Megan stood in the hallway, quiet. "You don't have to do this," she said. I didn't answer. Because I did. The thing no one tells you about betrayal is that it rewires your brain. Suddenly, every phone call feels suspicious. Every delay, every canceled plan, every quiet glance down at a screen. It's not paranoia. It's muscle memory. And mine was twitching constantly. One morning, I noticed her putting on makeup before leaving for work. She never did that before. Not on weekdays. "You meeting someone?" I asked, not looking up from my cereal. She froze for a second. Number I just felt like looking nice. I nodded. Didn't believe her. Didn't care if it was true or not, because the damage was already done. Later that week, I talked to my brother. First time in months. He asked how I was doing. I said, "Still married." He exhaled like he understood too well. "Is that a good thing?" he asked gently. I didn't have an answer. Megan came home from therapy one afternoon looking pale. "I told Kim about the night it started," she said. I didn't ask for details, but she gave them anyway. "I was lonely. You were working late. I was mad. I downloaded the app just to see. I didn't expect anything to come of it." "Then delete it," I said flatly. I did. "No," I said. "Now. Right now." "I don't have it anymore," she whispered. "I swear." I believed her. But I hated that believing her felt like a risk. A few days later, I found myself at a hardware store, wandering the aisles. I didn't need anything. I just didn't want to be home. There was a man in front of me, maybe mid-50s, holding hands with his wife. She laughed at something he said. He leaned in to kiss her temple. It hit me like a brick to the chest. Not jealousy, grief. I missed that. Not just the affection, the ease, the unconscious comfort of knowing your person is yours. Megan used to do that. Touch my hand at red lights. Fix my collar before I walked into a meeting. Now, she barely looked at me, unless prompted. And I barely looked at her at all. At our next session, Kim asked if we'd consider a full reset. Separate vacations, separate time, no contact for a week, then we reevaluate. Megan looked nervous. I nodded. "Let's do it." That night, she packed a bag again. This time she left a note on the counter. "If this is the end, I understand. But I still believe in us. Even if you don't, I love you. And I always will." I read it once, then again. Then I tore it in half and dropped it in the trash. Not out of cruelty, out of exhaustion, because love wasn't enough anymore, not after everything. But the strangest thing happened that week. I missed her. Not the woman who cheated. Not the liar. Not the version of her I couldn't trust. But the other version, the one I had fallen in love with before all of this. Her laugh, her playlists on Saturday mornings, the way she curled her legs under herself on the couch, the way she used to reach for me in her sleep. It made me wonder, could I ever love her again? Or was I just nostalgic for something that never really existed? She came back on a Thursday. The house was quiet. Kids were with my parents for the weekend. Her suitcase landed softly on the hardwood floor, like even gravity was trying not to wake the silence. She looked different. Tired, yes, but clearer. Like something had shifted. "I didn't call because I didn't want to push you," she said. I nodded once. She stepped forward. "I missed you." I didn't say it back, because I didn't know what I missed, her or the version of her that didn't exist anymore. That night, we sat across from each other at the dinner table. Microwaved lasagna, 2 glasses of wine, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound between us. She finally broke the silence. I talked to Bryce. My fork froze halfway to my mouth. Why? To end it? Fully? I needed to do it the right way. My stomach tightened. You hadn't already? She shook her head. I thought I had. But I realized I never really gave him a no, just silence. He messaged me again last week, and I replied. I told him never to contact me again. I wanted you to know that. I wanted to yell. Instead, I just stared at her. I appreciate the honesty, I said. And I meant it. But it still hurt. Kim once said, healing after betrayal is like trying to fix a shattered plate with clear glue. Even if you succeed, you'll always see the cracks. I kept thinking about that. Every time Megan tried to be kind, every time she offered a hug, a look, a soft word, she was trying to glue us back together. But I couldn't stop staring at the cracks. A week later, we went to a marriage intensive. 3 days, 12 hours a day, emotionally brutal. No phones, no distractions. There were 8 other couples, some recovering from infidelity, some from grief, some just tired. On day 2, we had to write eulogies, not for a person, for our old marriage. We each wrote a speech and read it aloud like we were burying something. Megan's voice cracked halfway through hers. I miss laughing with you, she said. I miss how safe your arms felt. I miss the version of me I saw in your eyes. Then it was my turn. I unfolded the paper. My hands trembled. I miss trusting you without hesitation. I miss wanting to come home. I miss the way our silence used to feel comfortable instead of terrifying. And then I added something I hadn't planned to say. I'm scared I'll never believe in anything again. Megan cried. I didn't. That night in the hotel room, she reached for my hand. For the first time in months, I let her take it. We lay in bed like that, hands clasped, backs to each other, silent. Not quite love, not quite hate. Something in between. After the intensive, things shifted. She stopped walking on eggshells. I stopped asking questions I didn't want answers to. We started doing small things together again. Breakfasts, laundry, grocery runs. It didn't feel like marriage. It felt like 2 survivors sifting through rubble. But there was something strangely comforting in that. At least we were sifting together. Then came the envelope. I found it taped to the fridge one night. Inside, a printed list. Here's everything I've done since the affair, the note read. Not to prove anything, just so you never have to wonder. I read. Deleted every app, account, and message. Blocked every possible point of contact. Changed phone number and email. Cut ties with anyone who ever encouraged the affair. Sent a full written confession to my accountability group. Attended 12 individual counseling sessions, journaled every day. Read 4 books on marriage, infidelity, and trauma. Wrote this list at the bottom. I know it's not enough, but I'm still trying. And for the first time, I believed her. 6 months after D-Day, we took a road trip. Not far, just an hour north, to Sedona. We didn't plan it. We just got in the car one Saturday and drove. No music, no agenda. Just red rocks, winding roads, and the soft hum of tires on asphalt. Megan reached for my hand somewhere around mile marker 18. I let her hold it, and that meant more than I expected. We parked at a trailhead we used to visit in our 20s. Back when we were new and hungry for life. Back when every hike ended in laughter, stolen kisses behind pine trees. Now, we walked slowly, side by side, quiet. At one point she stopped, turned to face me and said, "I know you don't trust me, maybe never will, but I trust you. Even if this ends, I want you to know I meant every word I said." I studied her face. No tears, no dramatic music, just truth. And I felt something shift, not like forgiveness, but like a gate quietly unlocking inside my chest. When we got home, we cleared out the guest room. Together. No ceremony, no grand return. Just clean sheets, 2 pillows, and one quiet night of falling asleep in the same bed again. I didn't pull her close, but I didn't pull away. It was a start. I won't lie and say everything got better after that. We still argued. I still woke up some mornings with her name and his name in the same breath, choking me. But we kept showing up. We kept choosing. And over time, the pain faded. Not disappeared, just softened. Like a scar you don't notice until you touch it. Megan changed. Not in a desperate, performative way, but in real ways. She stopped defending the past, stopped over-explaining, stopped apologizing in ways that asked for comfort. She started doing the quiet work of rebuilding trust without demanding reward. And I started writing again, started jogging again, started saying yes to friends I'd pushed away. I started remembering who I was before the collapse. And I liked that guy. He was worth fighting for. One evening, as we folded laundry, Megan asked, "Do you still love me?" I looked at her for a long moment. "I'm not sure I ever stopped," I said. "I think I just forgot how." She nodded. "Do you think you'll ever trust me again?" she whispered. I shrugged. "Maybe not fully, but I might not need to." She blinked. "Because now," I added, "I trust myself." We never did have a vow renewal. Never posted a "we survived infidelity" reel on Instagram. No one threw confetti. No one gave us a medal. But we're still here. And that counts. Not because we proved anything, but because we chose something harder than starting over. We chose to stay and make something new out of the mess. And that takes work. Real, ugly, honest work. If you've made it this far, maybe you felt it too. The slow unraveling. The moment everything you trusted turns into fog. The long, quiet crawl back to yourself. Maybe you've been broken. Maybe you're still bleeding. Maybe you're scared to trust again, anyone, even yourself. But here's the truth I learned. Sometimes healing isn't loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to stay, or the braver decision to walk, or the softest voice in your heart saying, "I deserve better than this." And if no one's told you lately, you do. Thanks for sitting with this story. If it meant something to you, even a little, stick around. Some stories don't end in fairy tales. But some of us, we still believe in second chances. And sometimes, those start with listening. Love